Don't get giggly on me.
I'm sorry.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessie, and today we're doing part 2 of my lovely sister's studio apartment organization declutter. If you missed part 1, I will have that linked down below. We started with all of her clothing and shoe organization. It's going great so far. We are in the exact same place, exact same outfits as the end of that video, so make sure you check that out. A lot of good motivation there. But today we're tackling her kitchen. This is, as I said, episode 2 of a mini-series, so we have some other areas of her apartment that we are going to tackle in future videos. So if you like this kind of video, give it a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future videos in this series and future videos on my channel. Also, make sure you follow Johannah on Instagram and YouTube. Both channels will be linked down below. She is awesome with movement, motivation, mind, mental health, body positivity. Anything else you want to?
No, I love all those adjectives and descriptors.
Thank you.
They're just, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. She's good with all the positive things. So make sure you check her out. All of her information is linked down below. Johannah is big with cooking. She's really, really good with just throwing stuff in. A lot better than I am with how to recipe, just putting great flavors together. So you really like your kitchen, so you had it pretty organized from the get-go. So what have you found is not working for you, and what are we wanting to change today?
It's pretty similar to the last video in that this space is great. This allows me to have my own walls, so I do not share walls with anyone. This is my own home. It's just in miniature form, so it's kind of like a tiny house in some respects, but because of that, I have had to seriously downsize in the kitchen. Functionally, what's working well, I did get this island on wheels, which works so well for this space and adding counter space, but in terms of this part of the kitchen, what you see is really what you get. This is it in terms of kitchen space, and so cupboard space is limited. I did my best to be strategic when I first moved in, but I'm finding that my pantries are spread all over, my dishes are spread all over. There's really not one solid place that everything feels just concisely organized, other than, I will say, I love my floating shelves.
Looks beautiful.
Thank you. I've always loved floating shelves. I have my spices, I have all of my dishware. It helps me limit the dishware that I have, but I still have enough if friends come over post-pandemic or if I have my sister over. It's just a matter of reorganizing. The countertops are starting to get cluttered with things because I don't have enough storage down below, or if I do, I don't utilize it well. There are some awkward shaped cupboards that I'm not really sure how to maximize the space of, and that's really what we're looking to do today. We also might be doing a little bit of downsizing as well to fit this space better, so between downsizing and just thinking smarter, not harder about some reorganization, which Jessie's so good at, I think this kitchen will feel a lot more functional and a lot less cluttered.
A studio apartment is a great example of a rule I like to follow, or a tactic I like to follow, which is budgeting your space. I didn't come up with it. I'm definitely a follower. I'm not a leader when it comes to that, but it's just a tactic I really, really love. So like you mentioned, dedicating the shelving space to dishes, and if it doesn't fit, it doesn't belong. That is a great tactic to use anywhere. Just decide how much space you want to dedicate to a specific item or type of item, and if you are exceeding the space, then that means you can probably do without. So that's a great example of this. I definitely think there are some areas you might be exceeding the space a little bit, and we can definitely get rid of a few things, optimize some things, maybe adjust the space we're budgeting. Maybe a larger awkward space, if it's optimized, can actually store more of something else than you thought you had space for. So we'll do some playing around, have fun. Let's get going.
Yay!
nights don't get around, but there's something about you I like, about you I like. You're crazy for saying I should slow down, but maybe I'm escaping the love we found. There's something about you I like, about you I like. I get too drunk and too scared and lie to you. If only you knew I would die for you. One of us gotta say the obvious. Nobody.
I think this is almost ready for you to just kind of look at and do your thing with. I do try to categorize the cans as best as I can, and I just opened up a bunch of space, but I'm going to let you finish off in here. The main thing that I did is I took out some candles because we have extra room in our extra home decor bin.
Nice.
So those candles will go in the extra
Yeah, that
home
makes way
decor
more
bin.
sense.
Right, there are already spare candles in there. This
that
I'm going
measuring
to find a
cup go
different home.
Okay.
Yeah. Same with these, and I also want to put these with someplace else. But I also moved all of my jars of peanut butter and
Nice.
Nutella down, and I'm going to put my honey there as well. I don't know. That can flux, but that created a lot more space.
Let's just put these on top of the
I like it.
thing right now.
To rehome.
Yeah.
We'll say rehoming pile. Okay.
One of us gotta say the obvious. Nobody loves me better. Nobody loves me better. Nobody loves me better.
As I went through each space after Johannah to brainstorm more efficient organizing ideas, I asked a lot of questions regarding her routines and how often she used each food category. This helped us find ways to store things that still worked for her. Regardless of how organized you are or what system you use, if you try to go against what works best for you and your lifestyle, it will never be maintainable.
One of us gotta say the obvious. Nobody loves me better. Nobody loves me better.
To maximize her space, we repackaged a lot of items into bags or containers that fit better together. We also used a lot of smaller storage bins. In a small space where you're forced to layer items either vertically or horizontally, these are very helpful in allowing you to move the items in front or on top to get to the others. We utilize these techniques in both the cabinets as well as in the larger baskets on the island.
One of us gotta say the obvious. Nobody loves me better, yeah. I get too drunk and too scared and lie to you. If only you knew I would die for you. One of us gotta say the obvious. Nobody loves me better. Nobody loves me better.
This cabinet was the hardest to maximize the space for. It's the longest but only has a small door, so you need to reach in. Almost everything under here is stuff Johannah uses regularly, making it even harder to know what to put more within reach and in a convenient location. We tried several options before finding one that seemed to work.
Let me be honest, I don't know one single thing that I haven't done to make you notice me. Let me be real here. When I see you, my heart starts racing, but I don't know if I like this chasing and playing.
I like this. This feels extremely functional. I like it.
Okay.
I like that a lot. It's actually, I think, like 10 out of 10. I'm really happy with that.
Girl, I know what's bothering me. I need somebody to love.
After going through all of the cabinets and countertops once, we had a small pile of items we knew we wanted to rehome, as well as an idea of any newly vacant space we had created that we could use for these items.
Oh, no, no. I don't know what I could say to convince you to hang around when you don't have to. There's so much that my hands start shaking all of the time when you're around me. But this time, girl, I know what's bothering me. I need somebody to love. Oh, nah, 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 nah. Don't you see what's wrong with me? I need somebody to love. Oh, oh, nah, nah. God, I'm sick of this waiting. You got me going crazy tonight. So why?
All right, that took a lot less time than last time, which was nice, but it really helps and shows what doing some continual declutter and organizing can do. Then when you try to go through a space, it takes a lot less time. So you've been really good with the kitchen, so it didn't take a lot of time. There was some stuff that we can pass on to some other people. You and I also talked about a couple kitchen items you got because they were a good deal, and I feel like a lot of people talk about having guilt or shame about getting rid of something they spent a lot of money on, and I completely understand that, and that's a topic that we can discuss and you need to kind of get over if you know it's time to part with it if it's not serving a purpose. But I feel like something not a lot of people talk about is feeling that same shame in regards to things you got a really good deal on, or you, like you said, you only purchased because it was a good deal, not because you actually needed it or it would really work for you, just because it was a good deal and you didn't want to pass it up.
Absolutely. And there's also this idea that, particularly as a young adult, you get this idea of things that you should have as staples, but should have and need to have are different. Mm-hmm. And so in this particular instance, one of the big items that I got rid of is a set of stackable mixing bowls that are wonderful and really essential for a lot of kitchens, but also for my kitchen. I don't use them, and when I do, I have other bowls. I have tempered glassware that works both as a mixing bowl and as a baking bowl and as a Tupperware dish, and since that serves 3 functions, I reach for that more than I reach for my mixing bowls. And if it serves the same purpose, then even if it is maybe an essential that I could use later on, that doesn't mean that I need to hold on to it for years as I'm growing into it, right? So I got a good deal on it. I maybe spent $20 on a whole set of mixing bowls back when I first moved into my first place 4 years back, have barely touched it since. So it's time to let go. I probably won't use it again for another at least 4 years. Since I do have something that serves a similar purpose, so there's no need to use up space if it's not serving me.
Just like minimalism looks different for each person, your staples will look different for each person. So my staples are not the same as your staples in a kitchen or in other areas of the house. So just because it's on a list that you found online of 10 items you need in your kitchen, that doesn't mean you have to have that in your kitchen if it doesn't work for you and doesn't work for your lifestyle and all of that. So you did a really good job. It was a lot easier. That is one thing that for me helped the whole minimalism process, is the idea that you don't need to do a big declutter, a big organization all at once. Just do a little bit here and there, and then slowly it will become easier each time. You do that a little bit less with your clothes, so last time that took a little bit more time, but you do that more frequently with your kitchen items. You're a lot more conscious of what you're putting in your kitchen and using, so it was a lot easier today. So that is definitely something to keep in mind, and just know that it doesn't need to be an overnight transformation. You don't need to jump straight to Pinterest perfect. You can just do a little bit here and there, build up, and it will become more natural, and it will be easier to maintain over time.
Mm-hmm. Guilt can be eased, and emotions, like, they're a feeling for a reason, but also we can lessen those in some ways. And I know that, yes, like, I spent money or other people spent money on these items that I'm getting rid of, but also I'm putting it back into the community, and that in and of itself, like, just is a breath of fresh air and makes me feel a little less guilty knowing that it's not a waste. I purchased them for a reason because I thought it was the right choice. I now have a more informed awareness of what I do and don't need, and so I'm going to donate those on to someone who could make better use of them for less.
I'm so proud of you.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much for joining us today. Again, my Instagram information is linked below. Follow me there. Follow Johannah on Instagram and YouTube. Her information is linked below as well. If you liked this video, make sure you like it, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe, and click the notification bell
Subscribe!
so you don't miss the remaining videos in this mini-series, decluttering, organizing her studio apartments, and any other videos I post on my channel. So thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Bye!
Oh, thanks.
We did it!
We did it.
Oh, yay! 2 sisters hanging out, 2 small bladders.
That's going in.